Now is the moment of the panel about innovative aerial service, supply and demand dynamics with the moderator Paula Olivares.
I stay here. So I ask the panelists to join me on the stage in an alphabetical order. Fabio Bosatelli, Head of Automation and Robotics, Enel. Marco Ducci, CIO of EuroSC Italy. Then we have Marvin Koenig, Senior Manager, Public Affairs Europe, Lilium, that is remotely connected. Onofrio Lorusso, Head of Airpass Services, National Fire Brigade Corps. Nicola Nizzoli, President of Assorpass. And Enrico Spinelli, Business Application Engineer of ESA. So, welcome. So we have more or less 11, 12 minutes each that we can split in 2 rounds. So I think that it's enough time to discuss some of the topic of this panel that is related to supply and demand dynamics. So in the first round, I will ask you the role of your institution, of your company, and the experience that you have on this kind of market. So I start with Onofrio. So Onofrio, the public sector is certainly fundamental for the development of the drone market. So what are the main areas in which you use drones to support your activities, and which are maybe the benefits?
Thank you, Paola. Good morning at all. I'm Onofrio Lorusso from Italian Fire Brigade. Italian Fire Brigade is an organization linked to internal Ministry of Internal Affairs and ensure on all Italian territory the public rescue, fire prevention, and firefighting also in forest fires. Is the essential part of Italian civil protection system. And when an emergency, an event happened, the fire service assure the coordination of a technical rescue, characterized by immediacy, professionality, expertise, and also with use of specific equipment. In our organization, the drone are for the first time inserted in the office that manage and operate all the fleet of Italian fire service. The drones are aircraft, and then we manage and operate them as the manned aircraft, especially for the safety of operation and the safety in the use of common airspace. We use drones in support of all the activity that the firefighters make. Then there are a lot of scenarios in which you use them ordinarily. For example, we use it in earthquake scenario for example, indoor inspection in damaged building, to have an overview of the scenario, to inspection of taller building, for example, bell tower, that are damaged by the earthquake. Other scenario is flooding, for example. Some months ago, we have a flooding emergency in Emilia-Romagna in Italy, and we use drone to check, to search for people during the night, and also to monitor the situation of the water, the quantity of water that was on the territory. We use also for example, in forest fire, to support the direction of fight operation, to monitoring the flame during the night, but also to support the mop-up activity to looking for hotspot when the flame are fighted, but there are some critical situation. Then these are some example of the activity that we use drone, and we hope that in the future we can also to enlarge the capability and the use of drones in our operation.
Thanks, Onofre. So Fabio, Enel has been using drones to support activities for several years. So what you have done and what project do you have planned?
Okay. Thank you, Paola, for the question. Good morning, everybody. So we launched in 2018 the OBUS program that it is the joke simple between the words robot and boost to underline the power to boost and to deploy on the large side. Okay, to launch basically at global level drone. So it is a flagship program that we launched in the Enel. Now it is a standard technology for us, and it means that, as you can see in the graph, basically we have year over year a growth of 50%, basically. Now we closed the 2022 with about 17 kilo,000 activities. That means basically 70% about drone. So it is a technology pretty validated and pretty deployed across the world. Now we are looking to close the 23 with about 31 kilo activities. So what I can say that we are deploying drones for a lot of activities. The two main use cases is to support operation and maintenance of our power plant, because we don't fly drones for the task of flying, but to control, to check our power plant. Basically, Enel Green Power is an operator of a renewable plant. And as you can see here, we have a most important use case in the solar field to analyze and to impact the plant to find hotspot, diode, outages, and we closed the 22 with 11 gigawatt. We are aiming to close the 23 with about 22 gigawatt. Let me give you a comparison. 22 gigawatt is more or less 22,000 hectares. So basically, imagine an area of 1 kilometer for 220 kilometers. So I am telling you that we are aiming to impact the total area of 1 kilometer from here up to Santa Maria of Leuca. So quite a long range. Obviously, we are deploying these with a flexible area, a flexible strategy with a lot of outsourcing activity covering end-to-end value chain. Because as I said before, we are focused on the final outcome from drone, not only the image, but also the post-processing data. So where we have the problem to solve on the plant level. Last couple of words about blade inspection. It is another key use case for us, where we are deploying analysis on our blades in order to prevent leak. And here the number is reaching more or less 6,000 wind turbine generators up to the end of this year. So I can confirm you, we are doing a lot of things.
Yeah, I think it's an impressive amount of activities. We know each other from 2019, and it's really a pleasure to see this growth in activities. Thanks, Fabio. So, Marco, as EuroSC, you have a broad point of view regarding the drone market. So, what are the main active projects and what are the application development problems from your point of view?
Yeah, thank you, Paola, and thank you for inviting me. Yeah, indeed, I think we may have a broad perspective since we work supporting operators, manufacturers, authorities all over Europe, I would say. So what you see in this slide is what are the current projects that we have ongoing, and I think this is in line with what you showed before about the results of the observatory. So we see a growing interest for delivery and inspection activities, but also light shows and these kind of things. However, as you pointed out, most of these applications, if not all, are currently in an experimental phase. And I'm not talking about simple activities like those under standard scenarios or in the open category, which means that the number of companies that are able to make this business a real one, a sustainable one, is very limited at the moment. And this is due to several problems. And I would say the responsibilities here are shared among all actors, so both the operators, the manufacturers, and the authorities. So the problems, I think, can be identified in some way by looking at the reason why we are approached by operators or manufacturers in this case. So most of them are looking to get an operational authorization, which is, of course, the key enabler to do any business. So you need to fly, of course. And there is an issue there in terms of time frame, in terms of predictability of the process. But we also see a need for having a simpler access to the airspace. And this is an issue, especially where this process is not very much automated. And we see also a growing interest for design verification. So we need drones with a kind of certified level of reliability to unlock higher risk and higher complexity operations. So I can say that from my experience, I don't really share the enthusiastic storytelling that we often hear about the future of the innovative aerial services. Because what we see is a lot of operators, manufacturers that are struggling to make their business sustainable. And there are issues here in terms of the time to market. So it takes too long for companies to bring their solutions to the market, and investors and clients cannot support them for such a long time. So we need to speed up somehow the regulatory process, and there are many causes behind this. So we know that we are lacking drones with design verification, as I mentioned before, but we also know that the authorization processes are too long. And the reason is because operators and manufacturers are often sometimes naive about the requirements they need to fulfill and the complexity of the entire process. But on the other hand, also the authorities are probably not quick enough in giving the required answers. And I mean, don't take me wrong, I'm not saying that authorities should not perform the checks that are necessary to ensure safety, but the process needs to be more predictable. So operators need to know in advance how long it's going to take to receive an answer, whether positive or negative. So we know that the resources are scarce at authorities level because this sector has a huge size compared to traditional aviation. But this is something that we knew for a long time, I would say. Since the early days of JARUS, when the European regulatory framework was originally conceived. And in JARUS, for those of you that are familiar, for example, with SORA, you know that there is often this reference to competent third parties that are entities that are supposed to support authorities in some tasks. So having this kind of support with entities that are accredited and overseen by the authorities, I think would make the process probably quicker, I would say. So 10 days ago, the Commission published a draft delegated act that is going exactly in this direction for the accreditation of these entities from EASA. In Switzerland, as far as I know, they have already implemented the process at national level. So I think this is really the direction we need to go. Otherwise, I'm afraid that we may end up with a sector dominated by large multinational companies, Google, Amazon, that have time and money to wait with nothing much around. And I don't really think this is what we are aiming for.
Thanks. Thank you, Marco. The time to market is naturally a good point, so yeah, thanks for your contribution. Nicola, Assurpass represents companies operating in the drone market. So from your point of view, what is the state of the art of the Italian drone market compared to the European one? What are the strengths and weaknesses of our ecosystem, in your opinion?
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Ditya, for the invitation for being here. It's a pleasure for me and for Assurpass to be here today. I am completely agree with Marco. We analyzed I don't need the slide. I tell the Regia. Okay. Because we tried to keep from JEDA the data of US manufacturers in Europe and Italy for understand which is the situation. And we analyze it, and the problem is that the US market in Italian is static now, don't grow up. The reason are, for us, two. The first one is the problem with the regulation. For example, the 1st January of 2024, all the US drones, all the US needs to have the certification of EASA, the CE mark. Today, nobody from Italy create drones that has got that certificate. So the problem is that, in one way, we have the market that asks service, new drones, new opportunity. But at the same time, we will not have, in January, drones, Italian drones that can fly. The second problem is the investments that have a certification mark ask to small company, because Italian producers are small company. And also, an old problem, but that we have the competition from foreign country. China market, for example, is the leader and is the only machine that now have the certification on EASA. At the same time, the strong point that US manufacturer has in Italy is that our drones are tailor-made, are small drone for specific needs, and obviously the dimension of the market is very limited, and is a weakness that we don't have the power to go to the big number. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola. So, Marvin, Lilium is certainly one of the main protagonists in the European scene. So, what projects are you activating, or have you already activated to capture a demand that is increasingly developing also in mobility and delivery?
Yeah, thank you very much, Paola, and I hope you can hear me well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much also for the invitation, and that I can participate, at least remotely, to this great panel here. Well, first of all, I have to say that we are a bit different to what we have already heard. So we are not a drone, or we don't build or develop a drone. We are developing an eVTOL for passenger transportation. So that's a bit different. So we are not a drone. And we are using then, of course, also a bit of other procedures and airspace as well. Therefore, what we see at the moment is that besides the type certification we have to perform, we also have a lack of regulation and legislation at the moment for eVTOL operations, not only in Germany, but worldwide, as this is a completely new market. The whole ecosystem and industry have to build and to develop the rules, the setup, and the procedures for these new markets. And therefore, we are working constantly together with the EASA and also with the national stakeholders here in Italy, France, Greece, and in whole Europe. So that's why we have today not a market we can develop. So we have to develop the procedures, the products, and the market will come then from 2025, 2026 onwards. But that's on the way at the moment. And I can only agree with Marco here and also with Nicola, as the regulators and authorities have to speed up in general for these new types of transportation and also aerial services like drones or eVTOLs, that the regulation and legislation is in place when the industry is it as well. So thank you very much, and happy to contribute in the further discussion.
Thanks, Marvin. So, Enrico, you closed this first round. So, ESA is well known for space application, naturally, but less so for those with drones. So, what role do you play in the development of the drone market at European level? What applications have you supported so far with drones?
Thank you, Paola. Indeed, at ESA we have a program called Business Applications and Space Solutions, alias BAS, through which we have been supporting the development of innovative applications using drones in many different markets. I've prepared a few slides to present very quickly what is our program, how it can help the drone community, and I will also provide some examples of concrete activities using drones that we have supported. So BUS promotes the use, in general terms, the use of space technologies in non-space domains, and more specifically, we support European companies from startups up to large enterprises to develop services in any market that are close to market, actually, and that use space technologies. When I refer to space technologies, I mean satellite navigation systems like GPS, Galileo, or local or regional augmentation systems, satellite Earth observation from Copernicus up to commercial providers, and satellite telecommunications, namely to provide ubiquitous connectivity. Our focus is on services that are truly user-driven. We want companies to help customers to work in new, different ways, maybe more effective, more green, more sustainable. So, and services also have to be innovative and have to be sustainable from a commercial point of view, and when relevant, also from a social or environmental point of view. But concretely, what do we offer? So we offer funding and coaching from technical and business point of view. We have a call for proposals that is permanently open, so companies at any time can propose business ideas to us. The activities are initiated by companies, and what do we offer? We offer two schemes: feasibility studies or demonstration projects. In a feasibility studies, company start with a business opportunity and can investigate its technical feasibility and commercial viability, ideally including also proof of concept to check that the system behind works, and something light from 6 to 9 months. In a demonstration project, instead, companies can really implement the proposed service and validate it in a pre-operational scenario. Demonstration projects have a pilot stage where proposed potential customers and users can really use the system lively. And the idea is that at the end of the demonstration project, the companies are able to sell the proposed service. As the activities are close to market, ESA co-funds through our member states. What does it mean? We co-fund 50%, and sometimes for SMEs up to 80%, depending on the policies of our member states. Intellectual property rights remain with the companies, and over the years we have developed, let's say, streamlined procurement process where we interact and iterate with companies proposing good ideas. You can find details in the link through this QR code, but now I would like to discuss how this program can be used by the drone community. Drone operations naturally are enabled most of the times by space technologies. Let's think of satellite navigation for localization and navigation purposes, or satellite communications for ubiquitous connectivity, or satellite Earth observation to identify corridors, for example. Some examples of activities that we have supported. So these are demonstration projects that became operational services. The first one is SED-DCR, that stands for Space-Enabled Delivery Drones for the COVID Response. It's a demonstration project proposed to us by Skyports and an UK consortium. And in this project, in this activity, they implemented a service to deliver medical samples and supplies through drones to remote islands in Scotland. During the pilot, it was the pilot stage, it was possible to demonstrate the benefit of the drones, as well as their challenges. More than 350 flights, if I'm not mistaken, were flown, covering more than 10,000 kilometers in all weather conditions. And it was possible to prove that with drones, the delivery can be more flexible, it saves times for transportation compared, for example, to other mode of transport like ferry, but also operations with drones may suffer of critical severe weather conditions. That is something to be duly considered. These applications were enabled by space because navigation and satellite communications could help the drones to perform the flight trajectory. And now it's integrated in the UK National Health System. Another project I would like to mention is ODROS, Autonomous Drone System. This was proposed to us by a Czech consortium led by Beats Garden. And basically, they proposed two services around a platform composed of an autonomous hangar and an autonomous drone. The first service was a service for anti-drone solutions. It's quite interesting. Basically, the drones and the hangar are located in an area of interest, and then the drones can fly against, towards an hostile drone on the basis of information from ground control center. And then when it's approaching the hostile drones, it's launching a net to catch the hostile drone and remove it. This application, this service, may become extremely relevant in critical areas like civilian or sensitive civilian or military areas where hostile drones could enter and launch dangerous goods, for example. The second service was was based on this platform to monitor, let's say, to provide situational awareness for first responders in case of catastrophic events like fires, earthquakes, and so on. The last example I wanted to show you today very quickly is Gray from a Polish company called Griotech, where they used space technologies to develop a BVLOS, flight planning as a service. This service was enabled notably through satellite Earth observation data to, let's say, identify corridors for BVLOS operations. Today, this service is being used by PANSA, the Polish air navigation service provider. You can find many more activities that we have supported with drones in the different markets at this website, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Enrico. So, in the second round, we will discuss on how to unlock operational services going beyond experimentations, and we can also discuss of benefits from the already mature experiences. I will change a little bit the order, so I will start with Nicola. So, in your opinion, how useful is to experiment with complex solutions in real scenarios? It's a virtuous path for market development?
Thank you. The experimentation in Italy has a long story, and it was very important for create help and research and development to the reality. But now we have a problem that we have a lot of wonderful storytelling, but we don't have daily use of this kind of experimentation. So we think that the big challenge is to transform the experimentation in daily use and in something that everybody every day use like a common use. We think that now the only possibility for create this condition is that public administration invest and use the fund that we have in Italy to create a regular use of these drones. And we are sure that after it, private sector will follow.
Thanks. Thanks, Nicola. Enrico, what trends have you observed so far with application enabled to advance their mobility, but also in the context of smart cities?
Yeah, thank you, Paola. So over the years, we have seen an increasing number of applications using drones in different markets. We have also seen some of these markets in previous presentations, just to name a few. Agriculture, where drones can help really in optimizing applications for precision agriculture, in construction and energy sector, where drones can help optimize, help the monitoring the status of infrastructure like bridges or power lines or photovoltaic systems, health sector, we have seen an example earlier, and many other sectors. Now, I think we have seen also the key trend is from companies to develop fully autonomous solutions based on drones. And I believe that only when fully autonomous solutions can be adopted and implemented, this will unblock the full potential of drones and UAS in general. This is a challenge. It will not come in one day, but it's something that we have to pay attention to. And in this respect, I would like to launch a proposal. We at ESA could strengthen our cooperation with Eurocontrol, with the national CAAs, ENAC, for example, in Italy, and National Space Agency, to create an ecosystem that will allow not only experimentations, pilots, but will allow implementation of commercial solutions following successful pilots. We could think of something maybe first in Italy, then we can, let's say, ally with other countries, like for example in UK or Poland, where we are also very active, and then create an ecosystem at European level for this. Then you mentioned, you asked me something about smart cities, so I would like maybe to inform you that recently, end of September, we have created a task force called Space for Smart Cities and Smart and Green Cities, if I'm not mistaken, with many European cities. What is the objective? Is to understand what are the needs and challenges for smart cities and how space can help tackling them. Certainly drones can play a role also vis-à-vis smart cities, and discussions still have to take place, but it's reasonable to expect that sustainable mobility is one of the key topics for smart cities, and drones can help optimizing logistics and making the overall mobility more more sustainable. I think Bari is also a perfect city where we could have live experimentation and future services, and I would encourage that Bari also joins this task force to help, let's say, addressing needs through also space technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrico. I agree with you. Create an ecosystem is the first step to let this market grow, so naturally. I want to see the voice of a manufacturer. So Marvin, what do you think are the main obstacles to growth in demand today?
Well, the main obstacles for us are, beside of course the aircraft development, are mainly the development of the ecosystem, as we have already heard before for drones. It's more or less similar for eVTOLs as well. And we also have the topic of regulatory adaptations. So for us, it is important that we don't have only, R&D projects or sandboxes. We really need operational projects like you have in Italy 2025 in Rome, for example, where we have first operational routes from the airport to the city center. This is very important that we have such projects also in other regions in Italy, that the ecosystem in general can grow and that the authorities and regulators can grow as well with the market, and that we all together can develop the rules and procedures we need here. So we as Lilium, we want to provide regional air mobility for passengers. So we want to transport passengers up to 175 kilometers at entry into service, which is expected in 2025. So it's not that long to go, and therefore we really need all stakeholders together. So the ecosystem, the infrastructure providers, the operators, but also the regulators and authorities to develop the whole market and ecosystem. And for us, that's the main obstacle there, that we bring all together in a country Also maybe something like a task force, a IAM task force or a regional air mobility task force to discuss what regulatory adaptations are required and how we can achieve them in the next 2 years, not only on one specific project, but in general in a whole country, for example, like Italy, which has, from my perspective or from our perspective, a real high demand for such operations in the future, and we believe that Italy will be a main market for eVTOL in the future then.
Thank you, Marvin. So obstacles, constraints, but let's have a look to benefits. So Onofrio, what are the advantages of using drones? Are there tangible returns also in terms of service offered to citizens?
Thanks, Paula. Yes, we starting to using drone with the 3 main topics. To avoid or to reduce the risk of the firefighters, of the operator, also with the possibility to see before scenario otherwise inaccessible. The operative costs that are lower than the traditional aerial vehicle, and also to have a possibility to collect data and information, not only video and picture, but data and information by a different point of view from where the incident commander is. And this gives the possibility to optimize the manage of the resources of the rescue of the team that fight fire or that operate on a scenario. Inside the fire service, the drone is an aerial platform, and every expertise of the fire service can ask a fly to collect a specific type of data to make faster and simpler their job. That for this way, we have a possibility to make faster and simpler the job of the rescuer, and then have also positive effect on the people.
Yeah, thanks. Fabio, what benefits have you achieved using drones respect to traditional activities?
Well, as said, probably we can confirm altogether that the drone are safe, fast, and so on. In power, basically, we count what we are deploying. So I can give you 3 main KPIs. So avoided tons of CO2 equal to about 18 kilo only for 2022. We can give you also reduction of water consumption, maybe for the different stream of production for our power plant, and most important KPI, we have, thanks to the drones, the allocation of people on added value activities equal to 15 kilo hours. So basically, the most important KPI for us is that thanks to the usage of drones, so reduction of exposition to risk, safe activities, less time paid for the transport or management of logistic activity, we can take people and put them on added value activity. That means training, continuous improvement, they can operate better our power plant. So at the end, the most important benefit for us is we are confirming that the robotization in drone is really sustainable as for the mission, and thanks to this one, we have been confirmed for 5 years in a row within the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. So very pretty good benefit for drone.
Thank you, Fabio. Marco, we can finish with you and with priorities. So what are the 2 or 3 priorities to be given in order to unlock the potential of this market?
Well, I think I already mentioned my top priority, which is reducing the time to market. And what I've said is that we need authorities to rely on all the support they can get from external third parties. But there are other priorities, I would say, that can help in reducing this time to market. So one thing is definitely improving the regulatory harmonization at European level, because the European performance-based regulatory framework is great, and it puts us at least 5 years, I would say, ahead of the US. but it's made of often high-level requirements which need to be interpreted and complemented by acceptable means of compliance. And this work is not completed yet. So the risk is that we end up with operations that are authorized in one country because the authority has given a low level of risk, and the exact same operation that is not authorized in another country because the authority has given a different level of risk, or because one authority accepted a declaration of compliance to design standards for the reliability of the drone, and another authority didn't. So if this happens, then we are creating an unleveled playing field, which may be altering the market, let me say. Because in the end, the operator that has received the authorization will be allowed to fly also in the other country with a cross-border authorization, which doesn't imply any further verification on the design, for example. So regulatory harmonization is the first priority. The second one, I would say, is investing in knowledge and education. And this applies not only to pilots, but also to people in managerial positions, both at operators, manufacturers, and authorities level. Because this is a sector that evolves so quickly that it's not enough to simply attend training courses. You need to be part of the discussions within relevant working groups, within standardization activities. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months. So to give you an example, I've recently came across a call for tender from a public institution for the supply of 2 million euros worth of drones. And the technical specifications were not mentioning the need for these drones to be equipped with the remote identification or with the class mark to use them under European standard scenarios. So they will get these drones and they will be almost useless in a few months' time when remote ID will be mandatory in January. Or of course, they will need to spend other money to put the required equipment. So this is a clear indication that we need knowledge to be spread more in the sector. And yeah, if I have 30 more seconds, yeah. Third priority is the infrastructure. So we all know that we need U-Space, and we also know that U-Space will not develop without a market. So public investment is still crucial, and I think what CESAR is doing with Eurocontrol is really commendable in this sense. But we also need, at national level, to start the certification process of the common information service providers, for example, which is a key prerequisite for the establishment of U-Space. So I think all actors have to play their role to really unlock the potential of the sector.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you to all the speakers. I think that this first panel was very, very interesting.